Hey everybody, it's your Peacekeeper coming at you with the next video in the line for how to play the US Destroyer line. In this video we are going to talk about the USS Wickes and the Wickes class of destroyers. This is the Tier 3 US Destroyer, so it's next after the Samson and right before the Clemson class of destroyers. This is a very interesting class of destroyers. The USS Wickes, the namesake of the class, was sold to the Royal Navy as the HMS Montgomery, which is the only ship in the Royal Navy to ever have that title. And the Wickes class would go on to have 111 ships built between 1917 and 1921. So there was a lot of ships produced in a very short amount of time. And its whole design revolves around two ships and the ability to keep up with them. One of them is in the game. It's the Omaha class of light cruiser. The other is not in the game, and that's the Lexington class of battle cruiser. Now, the Wickes was intended to keep up with these battle fleets that would basically go on and raid merchant shipping, kind of like what the Germans did with the pocket battleship design. Because of this ship's design, it had some very wet decks, and all the firing positions were what they called wet firing positions. And basically what that meant was in the semi-rough seas, the whole deck would get covered with water. Not like underwater, but it would constantly have sea spray over it, and all the gun positions were always wet. All the torpedo positions were always wet, and according to Wikipedia anyway, it seems like it would be a very miserable ship to work on. Also, it suffered from a number of different problems. You know, the advent of the the advent of the submarine and the destroyer's use as a submarine hunter meant that we wanted to equip all of our destroyers with depth charges. Well, the design of the rear of the hull, this tapered hull design, was really good for launching and dropping torpedoes. However, it hampered the turning circle of the Wickes class destroyer, and so it really saw limited use as a destroyer hunter, although, you know, several of these ships did get used in that capacity. Let's talk about this ship in the game. Let me get my little boxes checked out here. It has 8,900 hit points, next to no armor. That's standard. Its main armament consists of four 4-inch guns in a 1-2-1 configuration, meaning we've got one turret up front, two in the middle, and one in the rear. The one in the rear is a little bit harder to get on target than the Samson, and it's part of the reason why I have such a love-hate relationship with this destroyer. Between that and the fact that the Wickes is the first set of U.S. destroyers to see Tier 4 battles, which means you have carriers, which means you have ships that actually have some resistance, and the Tier 4 U.S. and Russian destroyers have much better guns on them. At least they reload quicker and fire faster and turn quicker. So the Wickes kind of is in this really weird position in terms of destroyers. I don't really care for its location, but let's keep going on those stats. We do have an upgrade from the Samson's 4 dual turret torpedo tube turrets to the 4 triple torpedo tube turrets, and this will actually carry on all the way up until the Mahan. So we don't start seeing the dual quad torpedo tube launchers until we get to the Benson. The torpedo range is 5 kilometers, and they have a speed of 56 knots, which is relatively slow. They're not the fastest torpedoes in the world, and being that they only have 5 kilometers, well, we can't stealth torpedo yet and won't be able to for quite some time. It has AA guns. You might as well write them off. I'm closing you because I'm mad at you. In terms of maneuverability, we have 34 knot top speed, which is 1 knot less than the class was actually designed for. I don't know why that is. Thanks, Wargaming. 520 meter turning circle and a 2.7 second rudder shift time. So the Samson and it have basically the same turning circle and rudder shift, which is nice. In terms of concealment, our concealment range, again, these are important numbers to remember, 6.5 kilometers by other ships, 3.1 kilometers by air. In terms of upgrades, as we saw with the Samson, we did main armament mod 1. That's going to remain pretty much the same all the way through all these destroyers, so don't expect that to change any. And I'm going to go with propulsion mod 1, which decreases the chance of your engine being incapacitated by 20% and speeds up the repair time by 20%. In terms of other modifications, damage control mod 1 wouldn't be too bad, but with how frequently your engines get taken out, even with Last Stand, it's nice to not have your engines always being taken out. So those are the upgrades for the Wickes. Let's roll in this very epic battle video. I'm going to put the whole video in there. That's going to be a little bit of a change. It basically covers everything that I've been talking about. And it happens, I'm going to go ahead and brag. It's one of those rare games. Like I said, I have that love-hate relationship with the Wickes, but it's one of those rare games that you did awesome. And I ended up doing 122,000 damage in a tier 3 destroyer. So, here's that video. Alright, so this is a fairly stereotypical battle for tier 4 fight. We got 4 battleships on each side, 5 cruisers on each side, and 3 destroyers. I'm going to go ahead and skip that first part. It was just raining. As we're going down this side, I do notice this Phoenix off to, well, it was ahead of me when I was first coming up, and frankly, I want nothing to do with that Phoenix. It's got a lot of guns. It's kind of like the St. Louis for the Samson. It hurts. I just don't want anything to do with it. And it's a very effective destroyer killer in the right hands. So I'm going to follow this Clemson, and we're going to go hide over here in these islands to see if maybe a more opportune target comes up. And this actually ends up paying out well, and I even contemplated shooting at him from behind here while we were, maybe even smoking up a little bit, but reality says it ain't going to add that much damage to the game, and I don't want to give away my position or this Clemson's position because we've not been spotted yet. Now you'll notice the Wickes off to our left, the friendly Wickes. Oh, there's that Dertsky that pops up. So we're going to sit here for a while, and then eventually I'm going to decide that there's nothing really to attack off to this side that's worth waiting for, at least nothing that I can get to easily, and I'm going to go help this Wickes with this Dertsky. And one of the keys that I learned with playing as the battleships all the time is that it's absolutely critical to pre-turn your guns before you actually make your turn. So I am detected. I'm detected by that Phoenix, and oops. I see that I'm not going to make the corner, so because I'm detected, I'm going to pop smoke. I'm going to try and make the best out of it, take some pot shots at some stuff, but oh, that's embarrassing. I'm including it all in this video, warts and all. So at this point, once the smoke is laid, it's kind of like, well, now what? Let's find a target to shoot at, I guess. We'll try and make use of the consumable since we popped it, but one of the disadvantages to the early U.S. destroyers is that the guns don't have a whole lot of range. So that leaves me with very few targets. I've got a Phoenix that is running away from me, and I've got some battleships that I'd like to shoot at, but they're just too far away. Now, because of this, I realize it's kind of useless. I'm going to go ahead and keep moving. I'm going to follow this Wickes around. You'll notice that there's a gap there in the 7-8 line where there's no ships. And what that means is I can go and attack their the backside of their southern force, which has at least one Wyoming over here. I can go ahead and I can sneak in behind where there's no cruiser support and wreak some havoc. But oh, a Campbelltown. Oh, the Royal Navy has something to say. Now, if you look at the lead indicator, it is moving fast. It is accelerating fast. And then it finally slows down and it starts to turn. Well, again, like I said in the last video, when you lose sight of it, sometimes you can kind of get a feel for it. And I'm more or less shooting in the dark. Now, I'm sitting in smoke that was laid by that Wickes in his fight with the Dertsky, so it's not going to last forever. Oh, I see him. He's turning around. I'm going to go ahead and begin engaging him in what I call a retreating engagement. And the whole premise behind this engagement is that I'm constantly opening up the distance, which makes his torpedoes hard to use. while also presenting the smallest profile. Now, I get lucky and I end up getting 2 torpedo hits on him and sinking him, which was amazing, but I had confidence that had that battle gone on longer, I would have definitely been able to take him. Now, because he's gone, I'm going to continue on my original plan. We've still got a Wyoming sitting over there, just chilling. It looks like there's another Wyoming over there, and there's a Kuma way off to the south, but, you know, I have every bit of feeling that my teammates are going to take care of that. Now, I got that Dertsky's back. He hasn't started shooting at me, and I don't know if he just wasn't paying attention or what, but I start shooting at him. That Karlsruhe starts shooting at me. I'm hoping that those torpedoes I launch are going to smack him and I'm going to get another kill out of this, especially another destroyer kill. And you'll notice I launched in advance. We were at closing onto each other, so even though he was outside my torpedo range, he was eventually going to run into that torpedo range. Now, I don't get lucky and I don't get any hits on him, so that's kind of disappointing. But to try and keep him from coming around this island, I'm going to go ahead and launch torpedoes over there since they're up. And hopefully, if he comes through there, that'll get him. I'm not holding my breath for that. But as we keep going over here, I notice that my Wyoming is cleverly hidden behind an island. I've got secure approach lines. I don't have to worry about being spotted on this approach. I am worried about that Dertsky, though. They're mean. Russian destroyers are absolutely amazing destroyer hunters at range, and it makes playing a U.S. destroyer very difficult if you don't get in tight with them. And then you got to worry about their torpedoes. But anyway, I'm using the lead indicator here on the torpedoes because I want to see what he's doing. And I can't actually see him, and trying to pay attention to the mini-map while I'm also trying not to run into an island, while also trying to pay attention to see if that Dertsky pops up. It's just way too much to try and focus on the mini-map. So I'm going to use the lead indicator on the torpedoes to go ahead and tell me what this Wyoming is doing while I plan. Now, I can see that if I go on this side of the island, I'm going to be away from that Kuma the longest, which means that I can engage this Wyoming longer without worrying about getting sunk. I can see where he's going. He's going to come around the end of this corner. He's going to be broadside to me. This is like the perfect ambush attack run. This is the creme de la creme right here. And you'll see I launched ahead and behind. Now, he's not paying any attention to me initially, and I'm going to get a couple of torpedo hits. And one of the hard things about doing this is to not blow all 12 of your torpedoes all at once. You see how he's slowing down? That level of patience, and he's gonna shoot at me here in a second. That level of patience was legitimately necessary in determining whether or not I could safely engage him, as well as not waste torpedoes, because I don't want to shoot those torpedoes and have him die to that first set, and then I'm waiting for these torpedoes to come back up. Now, we're happen to be in the perfect engagement range to engage yet another Wyoming, so let's go ahead and do it. Now, here I probably could have done a little bit of sit and plinking, but let's face it, torpedoes are more fun anyway. Launch those torpedoes. They look like they're tracking well. He ain't even paying attention. That Kuma is dead somehow. I think somebody got some lucky hits, and boom! Within less than 2 minutes, we went from only about 10,000 damage to 80,000 damage. 2 Wyomings. 1 half health, 1 full health. Just completely gone. My, oh my. Now that's the kind of engagement that I like. I love those. It was almost a double kill. If I would have planned that right, I probably could have gotten a double kill in this battle. But alright, because, you know, they're capping our point, I'm going to go do DD things and, you know, go cap their point. That's kind of the expectation, and being the closest, fastest unit to that, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, there's a Russian cruiser. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. Fighting with another cruiser. He's going to come up and join me. Now, that Dertsky, he's still out and about at this point, and that makes me kind of nervous because, oh, there he goes. Now, I don't notice it right away, so I'm still looking, I'm still planning for him to pop up over there somewhere so I can engage, but he ends up dying. It leaves perfect opportunity for me to make a home run. I can see on my minimap there's a battleship approaching their base, and I know what that means. The only 2 remaining cruisers are down south. One of them is being engaged by one of our cruisers. The other one's all the way down in our cap. So that means there is no protection for this poor Miyogi. It is my new prey. Now, one thing about the Miyogi is, and this is back from my battleship days, the Miyogi has absolutely atrocious accuracy. It's even worse when they are unupgraded. And I personally, you know, he's by himself. I don't have too much risk of getting shot at by cruisers, and I know I can evade his shells long enough to get some torpedoes off on him. Now, I see that he engaged somebody else, so that leaves me with the perfect opportunity to open engage, because I know it's at least 30 seconds before he can bring his guns back around to bear. So that means I got 30 seconds of approach to make. And I'm going to do this pretty much straight on to him, because let's face it, we got 30 seconds, and he ain't even paying attention at this point. He ain't even paying attention. Now, as we get closer and closer, I'm going to switch to my torpedoes, and I'm going to launch a set of torpedoes at him. Yep, we'll just keep engaging him because he ain't paying attention. Launch the first set of torps. Now, I launched those ahead because I was expecting him to turn out. I really was. But he surprises me, and he turns in. Clever. We get a fire, and we get to enjoy the absolutely... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't panic. The turrets are turning. At this point, we are way too committed to this engagement to back away. So I'm going to go on to my duck and weave. There's my weave. And none of his other turrets are able to engage. I'm here. Keep turning, launch, and boom! Home run. And that gets me high caliber. Battleborn, I think is what it was. Battleborn and another one. So that's that engagement. Here's the final cutscene, the final results. 122,384 damage, 17 torpedo hits. Woo! 4 sinks. Oh, Battle Hero, not Battleborn. Battle Hero. 4 sinks, lots of flooding, a fire. I mean, just an absolutely epic game. And yeah, 2,000. Next closest was in the 800s. Wow. Most of that damage was obviously caused by torpedoes. The main batteries aren't going to do anything. There's the credit screen for those who are watching. Anyway, this has been the how-to play video for the USS Wickes. If you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm your Peacekeeper. Thanks for watching.